guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today in the Ask SSM video series, got an email from a subscriber. This is definitely one that all the bachelors out there should pay close attention to, because this is something that if you're not dealing with it now, you'll be dealing with one day. And you'll see very soon I'm talking about. This guy is in his 40s. He's done well for himself, has a job he likes, a life he likes, hobbies, interests, all that. And he's a bachelor. Never been married, none of that. And he's quite content on that life he's living. However, he does date on occasion, but he doesn't make a huge effort into this whole thing. And I might add, he'd be happy meeting a really great gal, marrying her under the circumstances of prenups and all these other things like that, trust to protect his assets, and she's a cool chick. The thing is, the way he goes about his dating situation, I guess, got out to his parents, in particular his mom. And his mom, who obviously is not very happy that her son is not married and not giving her grandchildren, that's my interpretation here, lost it about how he handles the dates. See, obviously he keeps them inexpensive, likes to go 50-50 and all that, and is throwing a giant 70-something-year-old mom hissy fit and tantrum because she didn't raise her son that way. And it got to the point that he obviously had to lay down the law with her. And he's writing and asking if he handled this whole thing right. And so I'll be going to go over here to, I'll read his story, you'll hear this. For all the bachelors out there, this is something you can expect at some point. Trust me. You guys aren't the only one who had his mom definitely insinuate in many ways that she'd like some grandkids. Believe me, I've heard this conversation too, or approve of their lifestyle. This is something you're going to deal with. Because the reality is, gentlemen, most guys get married. They settle down, get married, they have 2.5 kids, they get a house in the suburbs, the white picket fence, have a dog and a cat, and they usually range from being okay to being miserable most of their lives. That's most marriages, they don't end up in divorce. I know it sounds negative, but it's the freaking reality. But more guys are waking up to realize they don't need that. They're not going to do that. And they're going to live the lives they want to live. And people have a problem with it because they don't understand it. And it goes against their paradigm of the world. And this guy here is no different. And you got to be strong enough, guys, to go forge your own path, live your own life. And people don't like it, well, the hell with them. And you have to, establish boundaries, especially with family that aren't going to like that. So, he says here, Dear SSM, first off, I want to say thank you for your channel. I just started listening in 2025 and see you have sharing so many stories of men going through their struggle of shit, and ultimately, I believe finding a kind of brotherhood among male strangers here that even therapists would be jealous they can't charge. Well, this community is big and it's growing, and it's been a great help to many guys, as they told me. That's why guys write in and share their stories. I keep people's who they are anonymous, and they can get their things off their chest, get good advice, and get good entertainment. This is a great group. My name is Arthur, code name of course, and I'm in my 40s, living in LA. I own my 3-bedroom home, car, 6-figure job, 2 small businesses, one as a book writer and one as an actor, and several hobbies. Actor, huh? That's cool. So you're an extra. I'm a licensed engineer in California, as well as in free diving, scuba diving, motorcycles, airplanes, and even some medical certifications. I have a black belt in Taekwondo, and while it's good to lift some weights, I'm better at running, where I finished the Big 7 World Marathon Majors of the world from Berlin to Boston, and just finished Sydney. Holy crap, man. That's awesome. You got quite the lifestyle. A lifestyle that so many guys that are married and miserable will be dying to have. And you chose that. When I get back from my adventures, I'm a dad to my cat and dog to greet me when I get home, which is where my little story to share begins. Since the pandemic, I went through my RP transformation, seeing women for who they really are. Not all, but most are just entitled and narcissistic opportunists. Brother, 100% agree with you. And I like that he says not all, because I agree, not all. As sad as it sounds, I've been prepared to die alone in peace and when my time is up. But part of me still wishes to have a loving female partner to enjoy this life with, without ripping me off. I'm open to marriage as long as it's done on my terms. Prenup, trust funds, etc. So I don't lose anything. Well, bro, it's your way or the highway. It's your life, And obviously when you're in a relationship, obviously you got to be giving in kind and all that, as long as it's reciprocated. But in terms of as a single man, a bachelor, you have things you want, then okay, those are your boundaries. Those are your deal breakers. So you meet a great gal, she's going to do the prenup. She's going to do all the things you need to make it happen for you to say I do, or you say I don't. And hey, but the thing is, I like about this is that you're honest. Yeah, you like a woman's company, but a good one, a cool one, you have great chemistry with, fun, who's not like the rest out there. But again, you're content. Like, okay, if it doesn't happen, doesn't happen. You got a good life. You have to be that way, guys. You have to have a non-attached attitude. You have to be comfortable being alone, because if not, you're going to pick the wrong people in your life. Lots of people, even guys, sad as it is, can't be alone. I've had guys admit that to me personally. I've known through my life, friends who I want to smack in the head. And interesting enough, those guys have bitchy wives, shocker. The people that wrote in. And there's a common thing. They all have bitchy wives because they will take what they can get, and they're afraid to check them because they'll leave them, God forbid. Anyway, in essence, what's most important to me in a woman is someone attractive who I can spend my time with, doing things we love, and engage in great conversation where it feels like time stands still, and we part ways, bills going 50-50. Let's not get carried away with the time stands still conversation. That's some fucking romance. That's movie shit. You know better. But as for going 50-50, I mean a gal is going to, not mooch off you. I found that woman last year, but unfortunately, fate or what you have it didn't let that continue. That's another story for another time. So I'm lightly dating around, but unless the woman is going to be worth my time, I never go outside of effort to find women. But the last one really put a wedge between me and my mom at the time, and the people closest in my life, my parents. You mean the last, not the one that didn't work out, the last date you went on, put a wedge between you and your mom, okay? To make a long story short, I went 50-50 on the date, and through our conversation, although our conversation was fairly good, she did not want a second date. I'm fairly certain it was because I wanted to go 50-50 and she wanted me to take care of her. Dude, that's going to happen, okay? The whole first date meeting for making it inexpensive, a drink, whether it's an alcoholic beverage or a coffee or a tea or whatever, something inexpensive, that is going to be a great way to weed out the ones that are using you, that are on a foodie date. A lot of women, they'd love to have a guy take them for some fucking $300 steak dinner or something like that. You're not going to find any that are going to turn you down for that. Not many are going to turn you down for that. But the way to really tell if they're interested in you is inexpensive or the 50-50 thing. And right here, that just determined she's not worth your time. Even though plenty of women and probably a lot of guys, so-called experts, would disagree with me. I don't give a shit. I was fine not seeing her again since I knew what I wanted, but my mom was furious. Well, one, it's not your mom's business. And two, why does your mom know about your dating life? You opened your big mouth. She shouldn't have done that. She said I should be paying for every date, and she didn't raise her kids, I have a sister, to not be generous. Well, she didn't raise your kids to be pushovers either. And generous, you can be generous to those that show generosity towards you. And that was a first date, Mom. But this is not her business. But I'm telling you now, what I'm reading between the lines, because obviously I read this, your mom, I guarantee you, wants you to be married. And she wants grandchildren because she's bored. That's what's going on. I immediately pushed back by telling her dating in 2025 is way different than 1981 when my dad paid for everything and he was lucky she didn't screw him out of everything with the family courts taking the female side 99% of the time. Oh, I'm sure she loved that. Then she said the most hurtful, undercutting thing I've ever heard. If I'm ever going to get married, I have to start paying for things or that day will never happen. And that 99% of women out there think like her. I disagree. 99% of women don't think like her. 99% of women sure would be happy to have a guy pay for things, except for maybe some of the feminists. But at the end of the day, they're not. You got plenty of ones that are actually cool, that will meet for an inexpensive date for guys they like. And sure, they love you to pay. They're not going to lose interest in you because you're going 50-50. But some will. So your mom is wrong there. And it's not. And your mom, again, is just pissed off. I guarantee it, because you're not married. I've been through this before, dude. Trust me on this. She even started texting me all kinds of YouTube and Facebook videos that tell me how to date women, like offer them everything, but nothing to show how women should treat men, right? Shocking. Okay, then while your mom is sending you YouTube videos and shit by text, send her some of my videos by text. See how she likes that. This is not your mom's place. Where's your dad? Why is your dad saying Betty, whatever the fuck her name is? Jessica? No, I'm not going to call your mom Jessica. That's too mean. We'll call her Becky. Fuck it, Becky. Your dad should step in and say, Becky, leave him alone. I don't see him doing that. Now, my mom is a decent human being who raised me well, but you can be a good human being and still be a fucking wrong about life outside your own little family. So I put my foot down and gave her an ultimatum that I love her as my mother, and if she ever speaks to me about this subject again, and if she texts me any more videos, I'm walking out of our family. Well, dude, I'm going to guess it was a lot worse than what you described, so you had to be that tough, because clearly she's causing a problem here. Good for you. You got to stand up for yourself. Well, since then, she's been silent. Aha! Women responding to strength. My dad privately told me he agrees I'm right and has seen how time has changed, but as a man in his 70s and worn down by life, he doesn't know what to do. Is your dad worn down by life or worn down by your mom? I'm going to guess probably option B. I told him I love him as my dad, but that outside of helping me be a good school student, he did nothing for me to be raised as a capable man with awareness in the dating world and virtually anything else outside of school. Well, that's the thing. Your dad sounds like your typical guy out there who got married. Obviously, probably isn't very happy with your mom, but he's staying with her because that's just what you do, you know? And he's not one to give that type of advice because he didn't know. Most guys don't know. I know the dating market is trash right now with many women just shooting themselves in the foot and a historic number of men just staying away from women altogether. Knowing history, with every meteoric rise, there will be a catastrophic fall, and hope the trend of women will return to sanity before overcorrecting itself again. What do you think, SSM? Keep doing what you're doing. You did the right thing, man. Your dating life, your romantic life is your business. I still am not sure how your mom found out about that. And I mean, if you were at your house, if you were visiting your parents and they're asking you questions and you revealed that, and I guess maybe that's how it went down. I don't know. And you didn't think of a big deal and she lost her shit about it. Clearly, there's a lot of underlying issues. And I'm convinced, as a fellow bachelor like a lot of you guys, Mama wants you to get married. Mama wants some grandkids. And she's pissed off. I don't know if your sister has given her any grandkids, but regardless, because, people go through stages in life, and she's ready for the grandparent stage, And obviously, now, I'm speculating here, but I'm guessing that's probably it. But you have a right to stand your ground, live life as you want to, and when she was repeatedly crossing the line, you drew a line in the sand. This is my boundary, Mom. And I'm glad you did that. And by the way, being a woman as they are, and they always test a man's strength, whether they're a girlfriend or your own mother, she's going to test what you said. I promise you that. And you better be prepared to back that up. So to all the guys out there, all the bachelors that have made a choice how they want to live their lives, they want to be by themselves or keep it casual, whatever, not get married, not have kids. You're allowed to do that. It's your business. And you have plenty of good reason given the world we're in right now. And I know a lot of you would have gotten married had things been different. And it looks like it's going to be a long time before things improve. I do think eventually, I could see definitely about 10 years, more and more, you're going to see a lot of gals really, if you think it's bad now, them trying to complain that there's no good men, and men won't settle down with me. All these gals that were doing OnlyFans and flaunting their parts in their early 20s in college when this all really picked up around 2020, 2021. In about 5 to 10 years, then they start getting hitched, and a lot of guys are like, nope, because there's a trail of them online, or a lot of guys have become aware of how things are. You might see some warning to younger generation. You might get a shift. But I think it's going to take a little more time. And yeah, you do have patterns and things like that throughout history. And I think eventually things will come crashing down, but it'll be a while. So man, you may never meet up with a woman that you click with that well that you could actually end up getting married to. But that doesn't mean that you can't keep enjoying the life you're enjoying and probably meet some girl that you can have a cool girlfriend with. Who knows, But I say keep living life that you want to live. Keep doing all the things you enjoy. And likely while you do things you enjoy, you'll probably meet a chick that, has similar interests. That's key. Has a good attitude, fun to be around, takes care of herself. And you go and see what happens. End of story. but you had a right to lay down the law with your mom. She was crossing the line. It probably took a lot for you to have to say that, so of her badgering you and being a pain in the ass. But remember, mothers can be a pain in the ass, is what it is, but you got to stand up for yourself. So for all the bachelors out there, I thought this was a good one for all you, and you got to stand your ground. You're going to have people that are not going to understand it, and they're going to disagree with you. And you know what? Shit happens. But remember, and I say this all the time, and I got to make this as clear as day. You got to be okay with being alone, guys. And when I say alone, I don't mean like alone with no friends and living in the house and it's empty and all that. I'm talking about in terms of romantic relationships. Because the guys that have the biggest problems are the ones that can't be alone. And they pick the wrong people to get involved with. They rush things. And not just with romantic relations, also friendships as well. You got to be able to be okay, even alone from any friends. Better to have no friends than bad ones, you know? And if you're comfortable on your own and you're a good guy, you're who you are, you live your life the way you want, you live your truth, if you will, the right people will come along eventually, you know. You got to keep the door open a little bit, of course, but you get my point. And be careful with attachments, and you're going to be all right. So, man, keep doing the things you enjoy. You made the right choice. I wish you well. And I hope this story helps some guys out there. So, gentlemen, whether you're a bachelor or not, write in, let this guy know, let him know what you think. If he handled it right, maybe suggestions, maybe things you've been through. I'm sure a lot of you guys have been through this. Let them know. It'll be helpful. All right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. I said that already. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.